We've got 2 rums from Cruzan's Distillers Collection.
Will they wow us this time?
Let's get drinking!
All right, so the 2 we have from Cruzan, and Cruzan is from St. Croix, from the U.S. Virgin Islands. We have done one before from them, their light aged rum, and we did not like it. So this is kind of a redemption video. First, we're going to try the single barrel. Now, this is an interesting single barrel because it's actually a blend of barrels that's been thrown in a single barrel for 5 years. I'm interested to see how this one holds up. So let's give a look at the color. It's almost orangey. Yeah, it's a gold orange. Yeah, I'm getting a little of the alcohol on the nose, which makes me quake in my boots.
Single barrel is very big in the whiskey world. You know, people, when they see single barrel, they're like, man, I gotta get that. So that was one of the reasons why when I was purchasing for this video, I was like, single barrel, that sounds cool. But you were saying that single barrel doesn't necessarily mean it's not blended, right?
Well, what they did was they blended it and then threw it in a barrel, and then they could call it
Single barrel.
So it's kind of a unique take on it. And it's like, okay, if you just count the age from the time it went in the single barrel, sure. Because the age of the rums is probably older when it was blended. So this is probably a rum that's closer to 8 or 10 years. But for being in a single barrel, it's 5.
One interesting note I'm getting on the nose is cherry. That's something that I haven't really gotten.
Is very, it's almost acidic on the nose. Like I kind of like those high tart like aromas, berries almost, not your typical deep molasses kind of vanilla notes.
So on their website, they're like, there should be notes of coffee on the nose, which I am not getting at all. They also say honey.
Faint honey.
Faint honey. The cherry, I think, is the thing I'm getting the most.
You know what I'm getting? You know when you're shucking corn?
Yeah.
It smells like that. It smells like I'm smelling corn silk.
There's a bit of corniness in there.
I wonder if this was aged in bourbon barrels. Well, let's give it a taste.
Let's give it a taste, guys.
Hot, but there's some good elements there.
You know what's real interesting? I'm tasting that corn on the finish. Do you taste that? Like, to me, it's weird because obviously it's not corn in it.
Yeah.
The finish has corn. Like, it's just a very bold corn flavor.
It's like buttered corn. It's like you went to the Ren Fair and they dipped the corn in the butter.
It's buttery,
Yeah.
And I don't hate it. It's just something I didn't expect.
There is that sugariness, there is the caramel notes, but that is the most distinctive feature, I think. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, guess what the bottle says? Great for a rum old fashioned. It very much has bourbon notes. So if you are a whiskey drinker and you want to get into rum, the Cruzan single barrel is a good go-to for you. I think this would be a good replacement for any whiskey cocktail.
Yeah, but is the price point make it a good replacement?
So this one is typically $25 to $35.
Now, we kind of broke our usual order of things. Usually we rate it before we get the price. So if we rate it, we're going to be influenced by that. Even if I hadn't known the price, I would still rate this maybe a 6. Like, it's not bad. I like it. It's unique, but I guess I'm more towards the style. I prefer the style of like the Florida Caña, where it's just like a more clearly molasses sugary rum, and this is a much different style, I think.
I would say 5, 6. It's not amazing. It doesn't blow me away. It's a mixing rum.
Yeah, it's not a sipping rum.
Yeah, I would say 5, and then the price point might drop me to 4.5. The price drops it because it is a mixing rum, and at $25, that's too much for a mixing rum. There's better alternatives out there.
After that glowing review, let's move on. Let's move to the Blackstrap Molasses Rum.
I love a Blackstrap rum because Blackstrap is kind of how rum became a thing. So Blackstrap is like the third byproduct of refining sugar, and basically they were like, what do we do with this goop? And they're like, let's distill it, and rum was born. As far as, that might be a huge oversimplification, but that's why blackstrap molasses is a thing. It's much more the English style. So instantly, just looking at the color, this is like Coca-Cola dark.
Yeah, you can't see through it.
Yeah.
I'm holding it up to a very bright light, and no light is coming through.
Opaque. This is the darkest rum I've seen. I don't know if it's completely natural, but let's put a nose on it.
Yeah, it's got that very dark molasses. Well, I mean,
I
like,
really like that nose,
Yeah.
actually.
It's reminiscent of Bacardi Black.
I really like the nose on that, actually. It's just...
pretty smooth.
What
Yeah.
notes are you getting? I don't know if I can pull anything out of that.
It's like kind of like you're sauteing fruit in brown sugar, and
Yeah.
you leave it on the stove a little too long, and it's just kind of this great, almost burnt caramel.
Yeah, brown butter. That's
Yeah.
a very good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like grandma's kitchen.
Before we taste it, I want to point out that the Cruzan website makes it seem like this is really not intended for sipping. It's intended for mixing mostly. They're like, the bartender's friend, put this in a Mai Tai, mix it with your favorite cocktail.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to keep in mind because it's not really intended to be sipped like this.
Let's taste it.
All right, here we go.
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
That's better than the single barrel.
Yeah.
It tastes like raw brown sugar.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
As dark as it is, I feel like it has a pretty light mouthfeel. It's not as chewy as you think it's gonna be.
No, I find this actually pretty drinkable on its
Yeah.
own.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, there's really no harshness to it. It's very mellow. Of the 3 Cruzan we've had, this is definitely my favorite.
Yeah, the more I sip it, the more sweet it is, I think.
I think you could, if you drank it straight, you could just put a little lime in here,
Yeah,
and
over
that
ice.
that might be enough to
Yeah.
have it straight. Like it is very good. It has a lot of good flavors.
This is a warming sort of like almost brandy like in the fact that it's got the deep rich kind of warming characteristic to it, so perfect going into the winter. I would, if you're gonna pick up a black rum or dark rum, this is actually pretty solid. For a dark rum, if I'm just taking price out of my head, I'd put this at a 7.5.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially, I mean, in full disclosure, I can only really compare it to something like Myers, and I would give this 7.5.
Yeah, maybe, 7 for me.
Let's talk price. What's the price on this bottle?
This is mid-20s.
Mid-20s. I mean, I think that's fair for what you get here.
Yeah, no, that's good because I think this would be an excellent cocktail rum. So it wouldn't be a rail cocktail. It would be if you're throwing a party and you want something good, in your cocktails.
So if we're comparing this to the one that we tried a few years ago, the Cruzan that we really didn't like, I feel like both of these are in a different tier. Like as much as we didn't even love this one, but this is way better than that one.
Yeah.
They're not even the same style. Like that one was...
It was light aged, so it was their white rum, but they lightly aged it, but it was like drinking nail polish remover.
This is head and shoulders above that. So while, even though this wasn't like something we're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, I feel like Cruzan has redeemed itself on the Rum Brothers channel.
If I was a bartender, I would put this in the behind the bar.
For sure.
This would be something that would be a great cocktail mixer.
Well, thanks for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts on Cruzan, the brand, and these rums if you've tried them. We'll be coming at you soon with another review. Join us, won't you?